We now join our military analyst, Josh Rushing, who is in Fort Stewart, where some 3,500 soldiers are preparing to leave for Iraq within the coming weeks. Josh, in just over 24 hours, President Bush will be laying out his new plan for Iraq in a much-anticipated speech. What are the troops that you've spoken to hoping to hear from the President Bush in this speech?
Well, some of the troops, and especially the leadership I've spoken to, hope the president uses the speech to prepare the nation for a long war. 3rd Infantry Division, which is located at the base where I am, will be the first American unit to deploy for the 3rd time to Iraq. That means, out of 5 years, they will have spent 3 of them in the country. I'm joined by their commanding officer now, Colonel John Charlton. How do you do that? How do you ask the troops to go back for a 3rd time in 5 years?
Well, it's like I've talked to them and said to them many times before, our nation is at war, and a soldier's place in time of war is on the battlefield. We have sworn to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That is our duty. So as long as that's our duty, we will go where our nation calls us to go.
Tomorrow night, the president will address America. He's expected to ask for 20,000 more troops in the area. They've leaked to the press those troops will be used in Baghdad and the Al-Anbar province, where your brigade will be. How will those troops affect your mission?
Well, again, I don't know the particulars of what the president's going to say tomorrow. If we receive additional forces, we'll certainly look for ways to integrate them into our operations. Right now, we're fully prepared to go in and backfill the brigade that's already there. We've done all the coordination and all the preparation, and we are completely ready and capable of doing that. Again, if I get more forces, we'll look for ways to integrate them.
How would you describe the morale of your troops at this point? And are they anticipating the president's speech tomorrow night? Are they paying attention to it?
They are, and they fully understand the importance of this mission. It is not lost on any of them. They know that this time period is critical, and the number one thing that we're going to focus on is that transition, the transition from coalition forces to Iraqi security forces in maintaining stability and security in Iraq. They are excited. They are committed. They're, of course, sad that they're going to leave their families once again, but they understand the importance of what they do, and they understand that the American people stand behind them.
You mentioned the families. What is the toll on the families to spend, this now will be the 3rd year for some of them to go back to Iraq in 5 years?
Yes, and it's my 3rd year. There is no way that becomes any easier. It is always very, very difficult. The one thing that does make it easier to cope is the fact that the Army has gotten very, very good at taking care of families during these deployments, and we have a tremendous community here in coastal Georgia that stands behind these soldiers and their families.
One last question. How long can the Army continue at this pace?
We're at war. We will continue as long as we need to. We understand that this is going to be a tough mission. It always is. There's no such thing as an easy combat operation, but these soldiers are committed. They're volunteers. They know what they're getting into, and they're going to continue to serve as long as their nation asks them to.
Thank you, Colonel. That's it from here. Gita, back to you.
Thanks, Josh. Still to come on Al Jazeera.